Hello, my name is Dan Miller, and today I'd like to talk to you about my favorite digital tool for review, Kahoot. Now, the easiest way to find Kahoot is to do a search for it. You could also type in kahoot.it. If you type in kahoot.it, you're going to see where it asks you to enter a game pin. But down here at the bottom it says getkahoot.com, and that's going to take you to the page where you can create your account. When you get there, it's going to ask you to create your free account. It's going to ask you for your role. It's also going to ask you for your school or your university, and then some of your details. You create your username and go through and create your account. Once you've created your account, you're going to be able to see a page that looks something like this. And it may begin you straight into creating one, or it may allow you the opportunity to start right here and look at the introduction video. But you can create quizzes, discussions, and surveys. I find the quiz feature to be extremely helpful when it's time to review. And one of the reasons for that is because it tracks a lot of data, and students don't have to create an account. So all you have to do is, once you've created your quiz, or the other opportunity for you here is to go to your public Kahoots, and you can search for something. Now you'll see here this solid, liquid, or gas. There's 15 questions. When you run your mouse over it, there's an opportunity to duplicate. And if you duplicate, then it moves it into My Kahoots, and it'll say duplicate. You see I have one here, draft duplicate. And you have the opportunity to edit those duplicates. So I have one here for literary terms review. And all you have to do once you've created it is click play. You project this on the board, your smart board or a screen, so that the students can see it. And when it's time, you hit launch. Students are provided with a game pin. They only have to direct their computers to kahoot.it. When they direct their computers to kahoot.it, they simply type in the game pin. They can also use cell phones or tablets. Once they've entered that in, you're going to see their name appear on the screen. The nice part about this feature is that if you tell your students to put in a name that you'll recognize them by, it's easy to track the data and the answers that they've given on any of these questions. It is limited in that it's basically a multiple choice. However, it still gives you a general knowledge. So as I put in the game pin, it asks the students then to enter in their nickname. And I always ask my students to use their actual name, their first name, or a name that I'm going to know them by. A really nice feature that Kahoot has built into it is right here. When the name shows up on my screen, I can actually click it and kick it out. So if somebody put in a phony name like Mickey Mouse, I can just go ahead and click this button and it'll kick that player out, and they'll have to put the game pin back in, and they have to put in their nickname again. It'll also turn the screen on their phone or their computer red, so it's really easy to identify who the jokester was who decided that they were going to play funny. Once you start and you have all of your players, you'll see over here as your player number goes up, you just hit start now. The questions are actually read on the screen. The students themselves don't see the questions unless they're looking up at the screen. There's music that plays throughout, and they're given an opportunity to make a selection. Once every student has responded, or you click next, it'll end that question. And you get this graph in between each one, and it tells you immediately that the only person who answered incorrectly, and it tells them what the correct answer was. Now the part of this that gets students really excited is the next part. There are points associated with it. Now because I just clicked a button and didn't get it right, I have no points on this question. But for each question, students actually get points based on correct responses and the speed at which they answer the correct responses. So the faster they answer correctly, the more points they get. This leaderboard will play throughout the entire game. When you're done, you can click through and end the show. It'll tell you who the winner is, how many they got right, wrong, and it'll let you click through for feedback and results. So when you're back on your Kahoot page, if you pass the mouse over and click on your name, there's an option for you to go to My Results. And this is going to have results for every time you've played one of your games or you've launched a game. The nice part about this is as the students have played, I have an example for you. I can very visually and quickly see where I had trouble or where my students had trouble. I can also break it down by question. So here's every single question. In red, it's showing me that they got this wrong. The green are correct answers. So for some questions, I see that I only had one student get this question wrong. But here, I have a lot of red. So it's an idea or concept that I may want to revisit. And I can run across that and look at it just across the board, but I can also break down by individual questions and click over and see not only what the question was and whether they got it right, but I can see the time so I know if a student was just clicking through. So this is just a little bit of the basics on Kahoot. In future videos, I'll talk more about some of the finer details and ways that you can set it up.